Yeah, guess we're here live. There were people waiting. I saw one person waiting earlier. Okay. All right, all right, all right. I'm waiting for you to come here. Yeah. Jenny Kirby. Bam. Sylvie, Sheena, Ben. How y'all doing? Selena. I need to get a spoon. I've got a spoon for my coffee. Be right there. So, we got lots to talk about today. We always do, right? Always, always, always. I don't know where it's going to go, but today I believe we're going to have a guest come by. I'm pretty excited about that. Okay, Felicia. Bam. Francesca. Nicolette Maria El Sami. Mally Jackson. All right. Dana Muppin. Okay. Envy Robin Fab. How you doing? Jill Williams. Okay. Greetings from Anchorage. I'm sorry. Oh, in Alaska. Oh wow. Cool place. Dark skinned black woman ready to hear from you. I respect you and your positivity. That's right, my sister. We got people from everywhere. We usually do. It's how we roll, you know? We represent the human family over here, you know? Because we are. Hmm. Man, I see a lot of love. Okay. Itziar Perez. Como esta? It's nice. It's nice. It's really, listen, I'm so delighted to have you here always, to my surprise, every Sunday when I get in here, I don't know what to expect. I really don't know. And it's not about how many people are here. It's about the fact that you guys are ready to vibe with me, to listen to my message, and I know that you'll take this message and spread it. You know how we do, and spread it to your surroundings. And sometimes when you see that people are vibrating the same as you do, vibrating vibrations. Oh yeah. You know how I like to do that, right? Pow! Pow! Oh yeah. Pow! It's all about that positive energy and that love. And when you do feel that positive energy and that love, and sometimes it takes a while to figure it out. It does. It took me some time to find myself, to realize that I didn't have to count on others or count on buying something to make me feel better or to do something, whether it was drinking or anything else to make me feel better. It was about finding my own voice, no pun intended. Finding your own voice. And that means there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of people talking. But once you can hone in what you're hearing and you turn down the noise so you can hear your voice finally and you know what you're about. Once a human being does that, he finds love, love of self, And that love of self can take you places you never thought of going. So find that love. Find the 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 love. When you find that love, man, people will come to you then. Before that, people were like avoiding you. But when you find that love, people come to you because you're finally vibrating at the right frequency. And this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to have people vibe at that frequency. And one of my tools, also my toy, is music. And with the help of music, which is my toy because every day I play with music. That's what I do. Every day I play with music. Whether I make music, whether I write a song or melody, is always connected to music. This is why I say music is life. And when you keep music in your life, it makes your life better. And sometimes songs can lead you on the right path. They really can. They can help you understand what's really going on, what's happening. And I will segue to how many songs and how much positive music and how many healers came from the African community, which are still coming. I'm talking about the positive ones, lending their voice to the positive message. You know, they need to get that love back. They need your support. We need you to be there and to be part of that change, and don't remain silent. You know what I'm talking about? Because when you are silent, it means that you're supporting the problem, and we don't want that anymore. It's been going on for way too long. I posted a movie, I think it was yesterday, and I just felt like, sometimes when the spirit comes, it comes, and then you're talking. And I was thinking about that very thing, how much positive music has been coming from the African community. But also, when you think about it, a lot of those songs had to do with human rights. Whether it's I'm Black and I'm Proud, whether it's Marvin Gaye, what's going on, and they're all, you know, decade after decade after decade after decade after decade, talking about the same thing, how unequal it's been, it is, and I hope it's not going to be. You understand? And I believe that with all that love, that healing power that we've been receiving from that corner, from the members of the human family, you know, we need to support. You understand? You need to support. Lend your voice to the voiceless. It's necessary. We're at a time where we all have computers. We are all well aware of what's going on. We can figure it out for ourselves. We don't have to watch TV because there was a time where TV was the only outlet where you could receive the information. Nowadays, there are a lot of platforms that really give you the real, because unfortunately, the media, the mainstream media, you know, doesn't give you the real, because there are many factors at work. Whether or not it's the advertising is paid by certain companies, and those companies don't necessarily want you to get this message because they have it would be a conflict of interest for the media to report about this problem. whatever it may be, without going too deep into the rabbit hole. The rabbit hole. So like I said, I'm just here to like open your mind, show you a few things. You go on and check it out. You know what I'm saying? Go check it out because there's a lot of unfair. There's been a lot of unfair, and then because it's so unfair, every now and then people go nuts. It starts as a peaceful, usually it's a peaceful protest, but then it escalates because there is anger, and it's not something that just started. Like I said, it's been happening and happening, and when it's like a bottle of champagne, you know, the cork is on the bottle, and then you start shaking it, and that's what happens when you see what you see on television. Those events that we see and we hear about. Those bubbles inside, they're ready to get out, and when they get out, pow, is that, and it's uncontrollable, and rightfully so, because some people are going to react peacefully and trying to contain themselves. Others are going to be lashing out, and you got another part that's going to be really destructive. But let's talk about that. Action equal reaction. You know, the people who are watching some of those events that we see on television, George Floyd is one example of many. And as a young person or as a human being, when you see this happening in front of your eyes for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, whatever George Floyd did in the past, it's about a human being that was not supposed to die. 8 minutes and 46 seconds, this man was crying out for his life, and it was taken away from him. We need to change the way the system works. Unnecessary force. And we need to remove some of that. Once you're handcuffed, there's not much you can do, right? There isn't much you can do. So without being too heavy, because I never know what I'm going to talk about, but it's what I've been feeling, and I think that the fact that you guys are here and still following me and still willing to listen to what I have to say, I know we agree somewhere on some level. And coming here and talking to you is something that I won't stop doing. I won't. As a matter of fact, let me check on April Sutton because I think that she might be coming today, and holler at us, and we're going to get a perspective, on things and how things are going. Let me see. Give her a call, see if she's there. You there? You ready for us? Oh, we can go. We can go right now if you like. Oh, you need 5 minutes or something? Yeah, we can do this right now. I'm gonna put you on speakerphone right now. Okay. Okay, my sister. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to introduce you to April Sutton. For the ones who never heard from April Sutton, I'd like her to do the introduction. Here we go. Bam! You alive?
Well, hello there. How are you?
Nice to hear your voice, April. So introduce yourself. You do it better than I would do it. Come on, do it.
Well, let's see. You could just say that I have been a reporter in Hollywood here, and wow, for many years. We started way back, during the time when we had Michael Jackson and Prince and of course Madonna. At that time, they were the three top sellers of music during that era, and So, I've kind of watched and chronicled so many things that have happened in television. And so we've got a lot going on now, of course. But most people know me from my work on television in Hollywood. And of course, that's BET and CBS, Geraldo Show, and list just kind of goes on and on and on. I've covered the Grammys and the Oscars, the People's Choice Awards, the Grammy Awards, the Emmy Awards, movie premieres. The list just goes on and on. So that's just a little bit of how I would describe myself.
Bam. That's right. So
Mm-hmm.
listen, April, I have a few questions for you because you are in the trenches. You are in Los Angeles, California, and I like to go into that like really shortly, not too long, but you know, it was June 19th. We call it Juneteenth, which is the anniversary of you said 1865, a very important date. It was for the emancipation
Mm-hmm.
of the slaves. It was the end. It was
Yes.
the last
Yes.
date, because
Mm-hmm.
there were a lot of fights. There were a lot of people that were against the abolition of, which is an aberration, the abolition of slavery. But 1865 marks the end of it,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the anniversary this week, June 10th, and it's an important date. And unfortunately there's a lot of unfairness still going on in the world. So I'm going to let you take the floor and give him a picture
Okay.
of that you know
Yeah, that was a very important year. What was ironic about that was Juneteenth, though, was celebrated on the 19th of June, was because that was a date that people in Texas actually found out that they were freed. There were still African Americans that were still being enslaved in slavery, and uh, so they didn't find out till a month later. But all the other African Americans in the country had already been informed that they were freed. So Juneteenth is celebrated every year as a result of that, because the people in Texas still hadn't heard of that they were freed slaves. They were free. So that has become like a tradition, within the African community here in the United States, that Juneteenth is a very, very special day. Um, and more clearly, I'd like to just touch on the fact that, right now we're still in America going through a lot of racism. I mean, this thing has not ceased. I mean, it shows its ugly face from time to time, too often, and there are many African Americans and people of color that are feeling the effects of racism. This is something that unfortunately continues to go on, and why at this point we're not able to live in unity, in peace together as human beings, I have no idea what this is about. I would think that now we would be a little bit more sophisticated in 2020. But
yeah.
the fact that this is still going on, that there are people being racially profiled, we always see problems with police and African Americans or people of color, where they are often singled out. African American men are singled out. I mean, we have cases after cases after cases of this going on a regular. And we've had so many people that have lost their lives as a result of police brutality. George Floyd, just recently, here we go again. And people now are fed up, they're tired, and they want justice. And of course, we've had thousands and thousands of people that have been protesting, and not only uh, protesting in the United States, there were protests around the entire world.
That's
So
cool. That's right.
that is a yeah. So people around the world have really been able to understand, I think, a little bit more clearer
Yes.
of what's going on, and with social media, this has made a big, big difference.
Yeah, and it's interesting because for me, I lived in America for many years, and I'm still over there, going back and forth. And but I'm in Los Angeles, California, which is Hollywood, right? But every time
Right.
my friends tell me, when I was coming back through to Europe. I said, "So tell me, how is it over there with racisms?" And I was like, "Well, it's still prevalent, you know." And they really wanted to know, and but I was like, well, it gets into we get into a discussion, and I explain. I try to show them, like, the shades of gray. What happens to some members of the human family, and what doesn't happen to other members of the human family. But now, thankfully, now that we got phones, we ain't got to talk too much now. You understand? We've been talking and talking and talking, and maybe some of those events were not getting out of America. Some of the international press would get some of it, but now, because of the internet and social media, we're talking about globalization, and everyone is well aware now of what's going on. So the fact that we've been seeing this amazing level of support throughout the world, that people are supportive, and I think that the public opinion is what's going to kick this over, because the one thing that politicians and public officials don't want, they don't want the smoke. They really don't want the smoke, because once you start to put them under pressure, and we know who they are, and we know that you're not doing the right thing, then suddenly we can. I mean, I've seen things like people putting the name and the number of an office that people could call to put people under pressure, to push them to do the right thing. And I think it's amazing that people are finally rallying, because we need all the members of the human family, like I like to put it, to join us in this fight for equality, justice, and freedom. Equality. That's a big word. And there's
Mhm.
so many ways. It's a long road to be traveled since, but it's those inches is tiring to see those. You get a little inches here and there. And then after that you see how it regresses to, like, oh, those inches that we've won, oh, it went back, we lost them. So now we got to make jumps. That's where it's at now. We got to make a jump, because if you don't make a jump, it's going to get ugly. And I totally understand
Mhm.
that. People are fed up, people are tired, and it's just so blatant, and it's right in front of us. So it's not that difficult to change. They make it seem like it's difficult, but it's not. As a matter of fact, I saw something on social media. There was this cop who, I believe it was 10 years ago, stopped another officer from choking a person that was arrested, that was handcuffed. So he was already handcuffed, and the policeman, with enough policemen around, was trying to choke the guy. What she did, she stepped
Mhm.
up and removed his arm from the other man's neck. For that, the police department removed her. She lost her job, and she lost her pension for wanting to save a man's life. Well, 10 years now. We fast forward. Now the case is reopened, and she might very well get her pension back. You know, and that's how reverse things are. And I hope that we're going to see more things. We're going to see more things go into this direction, and that justice will be served finally, and that the balance will be resetted, and that we'll be seeing more equality, and that people are going to watch out, especially in the police force, that police officers won't be pressured to do the wrong thing instead of doing the right thing. And I think that it's
Mhm.
it's a culture thing where, oh, I'm going to protect you, do whatever you want, but no, but it's supposed to be protect and serve. Protect. You sworn to protect and serve us.
Mhm. Mhm.
So this being said, you know, there's got to be someone there to say, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, it's a man's life right here. If he's already handcuffed, you don't have to do nothing else. I mean, where is he going to go? If he starts running, you trip him and he's going to fall. That's all you can do. So unnecessary force should be removed. Once handcuffed, it should be removed from the protocol in police forces. You know, that's my take on it. What do you think, April?
Mhm. Well, obviously, there's a major problem here in the United States, and not only here in the United States. I mean, I think that there is, prejudice of people of color around the world. It's just not going on in the U.S. The U.S. seemingly gets a lot of attention, because of our history, the history of slavery and the transatlantic slave trade, and how Africans were shipped over here across the Atlantic waters, to the Americas. And since then, I mean, African American descents have really been targeted. I mean, this is a known fact. But I
Yeah.
think the sad thing is that this stuff is still going on now in 2020. I mean, that's when this is a very alarming time. Why is this still going on? Why is the prejudice still happening to people of color? Why is this accepted in some societies? And why isn't there enough done to alter this behavior?
Well,
I mean, at this point, from a social standpoint of view, we should all, at this point, be learning to live together in harmony and in unity. But here again, this is not the case.
right.
And this is when you almost have to throw your hands up in the air and question why. The question is why. Why is this still going on? Why is it that we cannot get along? Why is it that people are being targeted? Why is there prejudice? Why is there, just an unequal amount of freedom going on? It's just, for us here in the United States, for us to be in the midst of this chaos, it's really daunting.
Mm.
And a lot of times, the only way that we get heard is if we have to just, go out and protest. And that's what people have been doing, because it's necessary for our voices to be heard. And without that freedom to be able to do that, well, sometimes we feel like, well, we won't be heard if we don't do something.
That's right.
So here again, you have thousands of people that have taken to the streets to post up signs, and a lot of times, people are operating with frustration and anger. People are upset and frustrated and tired now of this. um, Police brutality, it continues, and we want it to stop. It needs to stop. It needs to come to a halt. How exactly we achieve that in 2020, who knows?
Well,
Because at the end of the day, this feeling of the prejudice and unequalness is still going on, and
but
it's really, really sad.
you know,
It's really sad.
I think that it's very clear. It's this is and I talked about a small short film that I did yesterday on my YouTube account here that I posted, and I covered something, and that is that yes, Jenny Kirby, yeah, racism is a taught behavior. That's clear, and it's when the human being is born is innocent, is there's nothing in there. It's pure. You see it play. You see kids play in the kindergarten. It's love. It's respect. It's just human beings playing together. Young kids
Hmm.
playing, relating to each other, loving each other. Just there is no color. There is no difference until they're old enough and something happens in the home, because everything takes place in the home, and in the home
Yeah.
is the dialogue that takes place in the home, and that is the taught behavior we're talking about. And this taught behavior is to not pay attention or respect this life, this black life. Don't respect it as well as another, as for example as white life, because usually racism comes from one side, right? So what I'm trying to say is like it's taught by people who don't want to break the cycle. And usually when racism is in the family, it's passed on until one human being in the family decides realize that for example, because of music, for example. That's why music is so powerful. Music brings people together, and suddenly this woman of this man, touched by love, by music, realizes everything that he's been taught was wrong. And that's what it's going to take. It's going to take dialogue for people to break that cycle and realize that whatever you've been taught is wrong. It's an old idea. White
Uh huh.
supremacy
Yeah.
is an old idea. It's non-existent.
Hmm.
It's never been. It's been invented to control people. That's what it is, to control people. And then we go back to slavery. You know, slavery. You had white people at the top that were in control. That's what it was. But then when black men or black people were freed and got their freedom, then for some white people they didn't know where they were anymore. And I think that I mean it's so thick. There's so many layers to what we're talking about. I'm not gonna fix it in one day. I'm just trying to, from my perspective, you know, from being I'm a Caribbean man, French Caribbean, and been traveling and been living in America and seeing the problem from outside at first, being in France and hearing about it and living there and seeing how things move when you go from state to state. I remember going to in different states where Rob and Fab were performing, and then the day before we got to the venue, there was some spray can on the venue, like with profanities reading on the building, and people saying, "Oh, you got to be careful, man! Like, oof, be careful, man! In this state or in this city, don't go through there." And I remember driving through a city called Lynchburg. Lynchburg, like, wow, that's a city. That's the name of the city, and it's just that behavior that's been taught that one is on a higher level than the other because of the color of the
Hmm.
skin, and this is totally ridiculous. Just that idea is so stupid. And I think that with everything, with all the information and all the social media that we have at the moment, as a matter of fact, a lot of those people who, because usually those people who think this way, there's something wrong with them. There's something wrong. They're trying to, and generally when they try to belong to something, it's like you want to belong to a gang because you're not right. So you need to be part of something. And if the home life is not right, then you're going to try to look for something. Unfortunately, there's another side to social media and you know you know the social the I'm mixing my words in French and English. Social media and on the internet, some of those people so that are lonely and looking for to be part of something can be grabbed by some of those people who think like that, who think that they're higher than others. So we have this other underlying movement that is also invisible but also growing. So what we're talking about breaking the cycle is becoming even more complicated. You see, I don't know if you guys knew about that, but it's like uh, the radical part of a human being is targeted by other radicals, and they usually target young people so they can keep spreading that bad idea, that bad, very bad philosophy. But I believe that there are more positive people like us than them. But we have to make some noise. We got to stand for something. We got to do something. We got to keep it out there. We got to keep speaking about it. We cannot let up. And I think that on that,
Right.
and I think that voting is going to be one. You know, legislations have to be passed, new laws. But in order for that to happen, it has to happen at the state level, regional people have to get involved. And this part of this dialogue, speaking that I do, is to make sure that people say, hey, it's going to awaken people, that there's going to be a dialogue between people, a dialogue between people, between, because it's about everybody. We want everybody to be safe. We want everybody to feel safe. We want harmony for everybody. We don't want to keep seeing what we keep seeing. So accountability is necessary. You've been sworn to protect and to serve. If you're going to protect and serve us, we have to make those laws more balanced. That's it. Because if there's bad behavior, it has to be accountable. Otherwise, every time you want to bring something to court, well, I was in fear for my life. That's all they got to say. Oh, I was fearing for my life. And suddenly, well, case closed. The officer was in
Yeah.
fear for his life. So because he was in fear of his life, the law says,
Mhm.
well, it's in his advantage. I mean, case is closed. It's thrown out. That's it. So yeah, I know it's a lot of talking, it's a lot of debating, but I think it's necessary. We got to do it. It's 2020. Like I said, we can lend our voice to the voiceless. It's necessary. It's got to change. And it's amazing to see that support worldwide. It's amazing to see it. And even though I'm in Amsterdam right now in Holland, I can talk to you, and I know there are people from many different places here, and prejudice and racial profiling happens around the world. It's a problem that is prevalent around the world. It's not just America, like April said. So America being the beacon, the beacon of hope, when America gets their stuff together and in order, the world is looking. And I hope, because people live by example, I think that if there's injustice in the world, then people will take to the streets, people will do the same thing and go after the government and have things changed. There are more of us than them. We can change those laws, we can change legislations, and those public officials can be kicked out. Because, a lot of those politicians, all they care about is their votes, is to be reelected. Well, it's time for new faces, because in bad times create great leaders. And I
Right.
hope and I believe that in the next years we're going to see a new wave of new and exciting leaders who understood and are tired of seeing what they've been seeing. Yeah, I was going for it. I was in the
Yeah.
moment.
That's okay. Yeah.
Because I try to educate myself all the time, and what I was referring to earlier, I know I segued, and I don't know if you guys followed what I was trying to say, but what I was trying, I'm going to simplify it. I was just saying that a lot of those young people that are lost, whether they're young or adults who want to be part of an idea or an ideal or philosophy, are being targeted via the internet by very sophisticated software. And this is how radical groups are going after lost people to grab them so they can spread their agenda, their negative agenda. And that's something that it's not talked about because it's something brand new that we don't know about.
Mhm.
So some of those groups are being created online. They can talk to each other online, and when there is something positive happening for one of the members of the human family, they would go there and organize themselves to disrupt those peace protests. So you have to deal with these negative elements. Unfortunately, now it's more sophisticated. They're online, but I'm sure that that's something else that's going to grow, and there's going to be, action equal reaction, and we're going to find those cells, and I'm sure that some of those cells will be infiltrated, and we're going to deal with them. Because negative energy, if the Lord, if Allah, God, Buddha, you know If the law doesn't take care of it, then karma or the Almighty will take care of it. That's how I put it. Because when you do negative stuff to the world, the universe and karma takes notice, and it will get you. No matter if it's on your deathbed or whatever. Anyways, you will pay somehow, some way. That's my belief. You know, and I will do my best, and I've always done my best to try to, put all those things that I feel through my music. I'm not a politician. I'm not trying to preach here, but I'm just trying to send positive through the world. And with my music, and the more successful I will become, the louder my voice will become. And I know that you will be instrumental in that, in helping me on my journey. And there's a gift of giving and a gift of receiving, and I will continue this agenda of harmony and peace for the world. Spread the love, join the love. That's what it's all about.
Hmm.
Yeah, my sister.
Absolutely. That
Yeah.
is what it's all about.
Yeah. So tell me a little more about what's going on in Los Angeles right now. Like what's going on? Because it's been
Well,
rough.
it's mandatory for us to wear face masks when we're out because, of course, this coronavirus is still very present, not only in California but in other states. We're seeing that we have other new cases that are developing again. There are certain states where it seems like they're having a second wave of this coronavirus. Arizona happens to be one of those states. So, of course, people are very alarmed, very concerned about their health. But the flip side of this whole situation is that there are people still walking around with no mask on.
Well,
So at one point, you scratch your head to wonder, do people really take this thing serious? If they do not take it serious, then why? We've already been able to look at the statistics, and we see that the numbers are what they are. At the same time, um, I don't know that we're really able to identify fully and to chronicle fully what is really going on
well,
accurately.
my sister, this is like this conversation right now. That's a whole other book with so many chapters. But there's a book that is number one on the New York Times bestseller, and it's called Plague of Corruption.
Mm-hmm.
When you read this,
Mm-hmm.
you'll understand everything that's going on right now. I repeat, when you read this, you'll know exactly and understand what is the agenda trying to attain or accomplish. That's
Mm-hmm.
because of the fact that what you see or what you hear is not really true. There's an agenda at work, and I've been studying and I've been watching. And it's amazing because it's like this. When there's a debate and there's a dialogue, both sides should be heard. Correct?
Absolutely.
So what I don't understand is why some interviews who are explaining their viewpoint of what's happening. I won't say truly of what's happening. Why are they then removed so quickly? They used to be moved. It would take like maybe a week, but now suddenly it seems like they have like a, a bot. A bot is a software that is created specifically for a certain task, and that means that if the bot sees the name of the person who's doing interviews, it's being removed from any search engines. That's really weird. So sometimes if you want to look for, because I was interested in hearing the other side. So how come
Yeah.
when we want to hear from the other side, why is that removed so quickly? And I don't know everything. I'm just trying to be objective, because you have to be objective when it comes to
Mm.
everything that's going on right now. And
Yeah.
and and I'm an introvert from nature, and I look at things. And usually, introverted people, when they're in the room, you got the loud ones, you got a bunch of different personalities. But usually, the introverted one stands back, is the most quiet, and watches how people move. And that's what I've been doing. I keep watching them, trying to understand, why is it moving this way? Why is it moving this way? Why can I hear about this, what this person is saying? Oh, I can't find this person anymore. That is weird. So that's all I'm saying. Where there is smoke, there is fire. But there's one thing that I know, and Shakespeare calls time Father Time. Father Time will let us know, because the truth always comes out in the end.
It sure does.
As a matter of fact, there's some things going on right now in Seattle. There's a part of Seattle that's been taken over, and but it's nowhere to be seen on the news. Nowhere. So
Well,
I'm wondering.
yeah, there's a lot of things that's going on that never hits the news.
And
The news
but then
right now.
but then again, there's so many things that hit the news, and the same things hit the news all the time, all the time, all the time, all the time. Hey, you got to take your flu shots. You got to take your flu shots. It's the flu shots. It's the flu season is starting. I mean, you know, it seems like there's an agenda at work that's trying to push you to do things. That's why I say, people, go check it out. I'm just saying certain things, and it's a key word for go check it out. Right, April? Go check it out. Do your
Yeah, well,
research.
do your research too. How about that?
Yeah,
Let's do the research.
yeah. Let's do the research, because now we can do the research. But sometimes I
Hmm.
get it. I get that it is confusing because there's so many people talking. But once you start to search, that's why I say plague of corruption. Start there. Go look at who wrote this book. Then you'll see a little more about what's going on behind this, and then suddenly it's going to be is you'll see a domino effect. Boom, 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 and then everything will lead you somewhere. And then you do your research, and you decide, and you make your own opinion. You decide.
Hmm.
Like I said, here we come here with April. I bring April here to just talk about facts, because it's not our imagination. As a matter of fact, did you know, April, that there's a new app called Shortcuts? Have you heard of that?
Yes.
That's an app that was created for because of police brutality. An app was created. So you say, for example, if there's a problem, you fear for your life is in danger. You
Hmm.
go to Siri and say shortcuts, and then the
Hmm.
app opens up, your frontal camera opens up, and bam, you're live. And there's an
Yeah.
operator, there's someone on the other hand that's monitoring your situation. I mean, to have had to go that route, to create an app called Shortcuts because of police brutality. Where there is smoke, there is fire. That means, there is demand, because there is corruption, there is cover up, it is unequal, there is injustice, you know. And how many times did the camera of an officer, it didn't work during a certain situation? I mean, it's prevalent. There's so much, so much, so much. So thanks to technology now, we're going to be watching bad behavior, and it's very important. It's super important, and I hope that the bad guys, we're going to get the bad guys, and that before a bad guy displays bad behavior, is going to think twice, because now he's going to have to think about his it's not like it used to be one-sided. you know the laws are going to change, and then you're going to have to be careful about what you do, because you're going to be accountability is coming, and it's coming very soon. I really hope so. This is why we're talking here and putting pressure on them. You know, we can't let up.
No, well, the communication process has to continue. We need to have this dialogue, and we need to do the research. We need to be able to take advantage of these applications that are available on our cell phones so that we can chronicle the activity of what's going on in the streets. I can tell you that in many cases, if it were not for people that had cell phones, many of this stuff would have never been reported. By the time the TV crews get there, well, somebody's already sent the video out before the TV crews can even arrive. That is because of the beauty of a cell phone. I mean, there are people that are witnessing crimes all the time on their cell phone,
Yeah,
and they record it even before the news receives the information because they're out on the street with their cell phone. So that has worked to the advantage, in many cases to report what's actually going on when it's captured on video, and the video does not lie. When you capture something on video, it is right there in clear view, in living color of what's going on. And this, of course, is the case with the George Floyd situation. I mean, had that not been captured, wow, we would never have known what was going on. So, I mean, that's a prime example of how social media and our cell phones have been very, very useful now.
very
It's,
useful. It's a beautiful
yeah,
thing. It's a beautiful thing. And
yeah.
like I said, I brought April on because April is someone that I respect. She's my sister, and she knows the problem. She's seen the problem up close through the years. It's a conversation that's been taking place at the table of the African American community for years and years and years. I'm a French Caribbean dude who went to America. I lived the life of a superstar. So for me, it was a little different. I was in a different city, but I've seen it. I've encountered it. But I will keep all that for the book, for the movie, for all that stuff. But I can tell you that it's not balanced. We need to work on that balance. And when it
Well,
comes to one last thing, when it comes to police brutality, my
mhm.
my brothers, my Latino brothers, my Asian brothers, they they get their ass whooped as well. But it seems like there's one member of the human family that is doing this, you know, and I just hope that it's going to change. I just hope that it's going to become equal and people will be accountable for bad behavior. I hope so because the bully cannot win this fight.
No.
The bully has to be extinct for once and for all. We got to get him off the floor. We have to get him off the playground. You know, we have to. We have to. And I hope that in a year from now we can see major because it's not gonna happen like this. It's gonna take some time. It's gonna be a fight. There's an election coming up as well. You know, so but I'm not gonna go into the political route. I'm talking about human rights. That's where I'm at. But I'm not going to talk about the election. That's another chapter. April, you were about to say something?
Well, I was just saying, I was going to say, I just commend you so much for using your platform to continue to inform your fans and listeners who get a chance to hear the fact that, yes, we know you from your music, but also, I mean, you have a very engaging mind. The fact that you are opening a platform like this for us to engage in conversations. And this is a very, very important subject matter right now because it's affecting people around the world, not just in the United States where I am, and not just in Amsterdam where you are. It is these are conversations that are vital in countries around the entire planet right now. And I just really salute you, the fact that you are having this conversation and using your status as a celebrity and
Thank you.
um, oh, absolutely. And the fact that, you're coming forward boldly, to make it known that where you stand And this is very important that many celebrities, they have the ability to do this.
They
And
got
you are
to.
certainly using your platform in a very powerful way. The fact that you are sharing, it's a wonderful thing. So I just say it's commendable, and I think it's wonderful that your fans continue to follow you. Those of us that have known you and watched you for many, many decades, it's wonderful that you are still moving forward. And this is a very important platform that all of us needs to continue to be engaged in.
That's right. That's right. That's right, my sister. So what time is it in Los Angeles right now? 8:30, 9 o'clock a.m.
It is 8:12 a.m. in the morning. 8:12 a.m. in the morning.
Listen, guys, April did me a solid today by coming through because she hasn't been sleeping very well because of everything that's going on. She's getting calls from around the United States because there are a lot of stuff going on. You understand? We're not going to go into that, but there's a lot going on, and April Sutton being the person that she is and the connected person that she is, she's receiving calls from at every hour of the night. So I was like, we talked about having April coming on earlier this month, but we couldn't make it. We didn't make it happen. But today we made it happen. I'm so pleased that April came on board today, and that we had this debate, this dialogue, this healthy dialogue, because that's what needs to happen, a healthy dialogue. Here we don't. It's not really. There's no conspiracy theory here. You know, it's all about facts. That's it. We're bringing facts. We're talking about facts, and we're saying, let's make a change. That's it. That's all we want for the world. That's what the world wants for everyone. We want harmony, and we want the bad people to stop behaving badly. And if we can put a system in place to stop them from behaving badly, even though they're not the people of people, some people are never going to change. But if there are laws in place or a system in place that stops them, then they will refrain. It will become more difficult for them to do what they do, and for us to see what we see, because we don't want to see that anymore. It's been way too long, way, way, way too long. Like I said, the African community has brought so much love to the world through their music. That we've known and enjoyed and still enjoying, even in death. Some of those healers that have passed away have gifted us with some beautiful music. Let's give some love back. You know what I'm saying? Let's give some love back.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think it's time. Like we're so due. Come on.
Long
Because
overdue.
because
Yeah, for people to
when
live together in unity. Yeah.
that's right, that's right, that's right. Let's do it together. We can only do it together. That's the thing. And I hope people realize we can only do it together. I know that I don't know how many people are watching right now. I have no idea. But my thing is like, this is for prosperity. What we're talking about right now, it'll stay there. And other people will get a chance to see it, you know? So I just want to make sure that this message of positive energy, this positive message is harmonious, harmony, togetherness, you know? And let's not forget, as human beings, we have to be grateful, gratitude and kindness. Those are the words that we should live by. When you see someone hurt, help out. Don't turn a blind eye. Don't be silent. Because what you're doing, you're part of the problem, and you're making, because action equal reaction. When that will turn into something else, it reverberates. The words reverberates. I forgot how you say that. April, can you help me out with that? It's
Well,
it
well,
shows in other, when you
it's
try
like
to
a rippling. Yeah, it's a
yeah, it
rippling
has,
effect.
exactly, it has a ripple effect. So when you try to
Yeah.
push or shove something down in society, it's going to come up another way. So when you keep doing this and try to hide and try to push down, I mean, and the way it shows up, it shows through anger. That's what happens. So let's try to bring that balance and that positive energy. I know To some people, it sounds cliche, but it's no longer a cliche. It's clear. People want equality for all, and the fact that, and we're going to leave very soon, but the fact that there is a certain code in some police department, and I've seen it on television. I've heard police officers talk about the arrest quota.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
understand, the arrest quota? So
Yep.
if you have to make your arrest quota, you're not going to go to the neighborhoods where it's very rich or wealthy, and they can call the mayor or a public official and say, "Hey, this guy is harassing me. Can you get him fired?" Because some people have the power to do that. So what you're going to do? You're going to go to the most, vulnerable people in the city. So you're going to go to low income neighborhoods, and that's where you're going to do the damage, because there, you can do whatever you want, because there's no big attorney or big relationships that are going to, like, you're going to get a call and then you're going to be like, okay, okay, I'm not going to do that. That's how it goes. So we got to stop all that stuff. All right then, April, I really appreciate you for coming down and helping me out, because it's a complicated subject. It's a multifaceted conversation with multi-layered, and I don't know everything. And I really appreciate that you came in and helped me out. I too have had to do my research and understand more of everything. I mean, I was aware and I've heard about Juneteenth, but because of everything that's been happening, I've had to really read upon it and understand. And once you look at one chapter of history, then you start to see more chapters arising, and there's so many more stories of inequality and injustice that have been happening for far too long. This is why I say, gotta stop. It's gotta stop, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen. All right. So I hope that, not to be, we positive people, ladies and gentlemen. We're not trying to be like downers, but sometimes you got to sit down, you got to put it out there. Like I said, this conversation that we're having right now, I hope that more people will watch it. I know that people have a short attention span, but I know that at some point or another, some people will watch them. I myself have been doing a lot of watching and looking at people like Martin Luther King, um, Malcolm X, James Baldwin, Mario Angelou, all those very influential people during those eras who were talking about the subject. Nina Simone, very vocal about what was going on. And they are gone, and the problem is still here. So, my duty as a human being, as an artist, as a black man, is to shine a light on it so we can bring change. Change will take place very slowly, but it's got to happen. It's got to. My sister, it was a pleasure.
Yes.
It's always hard to say goodbye. Because
Well,
once,
this has been a great conversation, but it's very needed, and
yeah, it's needed. It
I,
is. It is.
yeah, it's very serious times right now.
It's serious. It's serious. It's serious. Like, but I think that, in the chaos of it all, in the end, I think there is a force up there. It looks to us very chaotic, but in the end, just like nature, nature appears to be chaotic, but then it isn't. The trees grow, the flowers bloom, animals are born, and that's the way it is. It's nature, and I think that there is a force out there who's realigning everything, and sometimes it has to happen. I'm not saying it's the ice age, but that's my analogy. But because of ice age, then everything flipped, everything changed, and maybe that's the ice age before a new beginning. But people have to be involved. People have to voice their. They have to lend their voice to the voiceless. That's it. And actually, last week I covered. Because you got the class 2020 people who graduated, so I kind of I talked about how they were about to start a new life, and it is, I'm sure, very confusing for them. This is why we as elders have to be here and bring that message of hope. And maybe by listening to me talk, maybe we'll see the birth of a new leader that's going to step up and see injustice and will fight for injustice, for equality for all. You know, equality, fraternity. You know, all those very powerful words that are not just words, but we should strive to make them come to life and to be real, as opposed to just words that people use. You know.
Yeah.
That's it, my sister. I think we've man, it's an hour. Woo!
Wow, that went by fast.
It went by really fast. Well, it's hard to say goodbye, everybody. April, thank you for taking the time to come in and, like I said, to spread some knowledge with us. Give
Oh,
you
my pleasure. Thank
give
you for
us
having me. Thank you.
give us your perspective, because you're born in America, born and raised. I wasn't born and raised in America. I was able to go in my 20s to go to America and feel how things were over there. But you are an indigenous. You're an American. A true
Hmm.
American, and you've seen history. You studied history. You went to school for journalism. You received countless awards as a journalist. Actually, one of the youngest journalists to be inducted in the Hall of Fame of Broadcasting. So we're talking about like April Sutton is the chisel, ladies and gentlemen. Just to let y'all
Oh,
know what's going on over here. So I really appreciate you giving us love, and we're gonna keep this going. All right?
yeah, let's keep the conversation going, definitely.
You got me, my sister. We talk soon, okay?
All right, take care.
All right now. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. I know the way we do things usually is Q&A and everything, but we like to play it by ear and have things go, you know, go the way they're supposed to go, which is free. We're free. There's no rules. We just go with the flow. Like I said, I am perfect. I'm far from perfect, and but I come from the heart. That's what I do. In everything I do, I come from the heart, and I think that right now this is necessary. It's not about me. I would love to talk about my music, but we're gonna go back to that. We're gonna go back to that, and like I said, in a minute, I'm about to take my social media game to the next level. I'll definitely I'm gonna step it up a little bit because, but like I said, right now we gotta really be solidarity is a word. We have to show solidarity to the people. All right. So I hope that it won't be that serious all the time. And we're gonna go back to the music. I've been working, like I said, action equal reaction. I've been writing a lot, a bunch, a bunch, a bunch, a bunch, a bunch, and all the teams are working. I should be going to Paris very soon. That too. So, but hey, we've got to voice our opinion. I got to let y'all know where I stand, and I've got to speak out. It's important. And you'll see that everything, the majority of what I write, because I like to talk about love, friendship, but the one that really comes to mind, that comes to me very easily, what I mean by that, it comes to mind, it comes to my mind the quickest, the fastest, and the most natural is humanity. I like to touch on humanity. I like to cover society because it's the most natural for me. So You can expect a lot of the music that's coming is going to be covering that. You know. Anyways, it's hard to say goodbye. I got to go because I got to do the French vlog, and like I said, 6 o'clock. It's my closing time, but it's time to go. So don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Say you don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Peace, one love. Before I go, I'm gonna give you some of that good energy, good energy, good energy. I'm gonna give it to you, give it to you. Pow, pow, pow. You know, I do miss performing, y'all. But it's gonna be so much fun when we go back. I love y'all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I know it's going to take some time for this vlog to show up because somehow it needs to be vetted. They check out everything I'm talking about. I hope it makes the cut. If it doesn't appear, that means it was shut down. But you who were there got a chance to listen to what I had to say. Okay, now. Plague of Corruption. Go check it out. Plague of Corruption. That's all I got to say. Until next episode, this is Fab Morvan, yours truly. Yeah! Bye-bye. Oh, one last thing, everybody. I'm sorry I didn't address a lot of the comments. I see the love. I see the interaction. I see you guys talking to each other. I see you. I see you. You remember Avatar? I see you, ladies and gentlemen. Keep showing yourself. Keep showing off. And keep pow! Keep sharing that love and be part of that ripple effect, that positive wave of energy. Get involved. Peace.